Hi and hello, movie fans. I hope all is well with you wherever you are in the world today, and welcome. This is my part two to the back rooms. Why am I wearing this silly hat? Well, I bought this hat for a Halloween costume. I was a mime, and I realized that making movie reviews is entirely pretentious. So I thought, I never get to wear this hat. I think I look pretty good in it, but this is a perfect opportunity to really douche it up. So here I am, sunglasses too. Anyways, I'm having fun, so why not? I wanted to make a part two for the back rooms, and basically, I wanted to key in on two things, narrow in on two things that I neglected to mention in my first analysis of this film, which I encourage anyone watching this to go back and listen to. But for one, I mentioned it twice in the initial review that his name is Clark, but I didn't really get to expand on the significance of that. Basically, if you go off of my original interpretation of the movie, Clark is a derivative of the word clerk, which suggests that he serves the public, everyone else, but not himself. That's important for the type of person that he is and the character struggles that he has through the course of the film. Now, the second thing I wanted to narrow in on is the pirate itself and the scene where the psychiatrist is convincing him that he doesn't need to change. Now, I had already mentioned that even in that moment, he doesn't make any kind of decision for himself. He is waiting for other people to tell him what to do. Now, the whole point of this pirate character and in the backrooms is, Clark is playing a cat and mouse game with this pirate, which is in reality himself. He's in denial that he can't be the architect he wants to be. And in reality, he is this pirate figure. And, he's running away from the reality of his life and he's seemingly in denial about it until the moment when he tells the pirate, we don't have to change. We can keep doing what we're doing. She's a good guy, she's a good person. She told us that we don't have to change. Don't hurt her. But really, in that moment, the pirate devours him. And what's taking place is because he's accepted the reality of his life, that he is, in fact, this pirate character, the pirate devours him and swallows him and kills him in the process, killing the him of denial. That whatever dream he was chasing, whatever fantasy he had in his mind about becoming an architect or all these other ideas he had about himself, all that stuff, he's letting go of it and he's embracing the reality of his life. He is this pirate. He is a clown. And because of this, he's also accepted that he's a psychopathic killer, and so once that pirate devours the old Clark, the one that was running away, he has fully become this pirate figure. And then from there, the movie goes on. And that is a symbolic scene to represent the transformation of him, whatever was left of the human part of him that could have made a change, the part of him that could have done the risky thing and become an architect. That's all gone now. It was already gone when he killed innocent people, but he's accepted this part of himself now, and that devouring is representative of that. And so the last kind of bit I wanted to mention is that, because this is a short video, it's just a follow up on some details that I wanted to narrow in on. The last bit is that the back rooms in the movie, it's a like literal material world where people could walk around in, and I was explaining in the first analysis that it's really a metaphor, and I'm going to stick to that in that all this movie is really a metaphor for the human psyche. And that when they're questioning the psychiatrist at the end about how she survived the back rooms, how she got out of the back rooms, and all of her details about this deal, that was really them interrogating her about how she psychoanalyzed this person, Clark. They want to get into his inner psyche and examine it and understand it better and map it out, the human mind. And the Backrooms is all really just an allegory for that. And so, yeah, if you were a doctor and if you were psychoanalyzing a psychopath like Clark, it would do a real number on you, I imagine. And so she's going through her own trauma in a certain sense, having, you know, gone in as deep as she did with Clark and seen like the devil in his eyes, this pirate, if you will. And so, really, all this is just a symbolic representation of what she experienced in the back rooms, which was really what she experienced through the therapy that she had done with Clark. And another thing, too, I wanted to just sort of mention lightly and then move on is that when she herself has the realization that she can't help anyone, that's only to suggest that people have to help themselves. She can't cure anyone. She can't solve anyone's problems really for them. She can just simply, you can lead a horse to water, but can you get them to drink it? That's the thing. You can explain all you want to somebody, their problems and what their issues are, but at the end of the day, it's really reliant on them to make these things happen and change for the better or make whatever shifts they need to see. Or, beg your pardon, in Clark's case, continue doing the same patterns of behavior. And so that is where the therapy is supposed to be helpful to get somebody to understand, hey, this is a cycle that you're going through and you've done this time and time again. Have you noticed this? And if you'd like to change that, what steps are you willing to take to make that change? And so when she's having this moment of clarity, seemingly in the height of the psycho chaos of the back rooms, when he's got these figures around him in that room at the kitchen table of the back rooms, she sort of, I think, lets go of the idea that she's actually solving problems. As maybe she's understanding better that she's not solving anyone's problems, but she's helping them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But anyways, with that said, I'm gonna let this go. I kind of also wanted to clean up my substance analysis. I'd like to shorten it down, button it up, make it a little tighter, make it a little better, have it make more sense, because I had just rewatched it and listened to it because I was like, that was such a good movie. But even now, there's like other things that I neglected to remember and explain that were so important about that film. Screw it, I'm going to do it now. The significance of the name Sue, the alter ego, was to mention that, there is I don't know what this is. It's popular on the internet. A lot of people have this word, Mary Sue, which is to suggest some sort of a female character that has all of these problems solved. They don't have to earn anything in the movie. They just get the powers. They just get the solution, and they just streamline them into being the hero without having to actually achieve it. A certain example might be somebody like, how can I compare this? A lot of people suggested that the character Rey in the new Star Wars trilogy was like a Mary Sue. You didn't really see her have to struggle in the same way as Luke Skywalker did to get her Jedi powers and become as powerful as she was with the Force through the course of that movie. So people said, this is a Mary Sue. The solutions to her problems literally just fall into her hands. She didn't have to go do anything to get that. She had all these powers seemingly just handed to her, without having to unlock any sort of inner truths about herself or these secrets of the Force. That just all happens for her. And so the implication of this would be like she's a Mary Sue. Now, to counter that type of character would be what I think of in the movie Terminator 1 and Terminator 2's, more specifically Terminator 2, but it starts with the mother character of John Connor, which her name escapes me at this moment, but in the first movie, she's running for her life and she's just a normal girl a young woman, I should say, and she's living in the 80s, and she's just living a normal life. She's just she's single, and she likes to hang out with her friends and do normal stuff, and she doesn't know the future, and she doesn't know that her son is going to be the savior of humanity. She doesn't know that there's a rise of the machines on the horizon. She doesn't know any of that stuff. She's just a normal, everyday American young woman who has seemingly a bright future ahead of her, and she's just like anyone else. And so, but by the time you see her in the second movie, she knows. And she's been training. She has gotten friends. She's like getting prepared for what she imagines is the rise of the machines. And her son, John Connor, who is supposed to lead the rise of the machines, she's, literally working out in the mental hospital, getting ready for action, and she's prepared for when she sees the Terminator for the second time in her life, in this movie for round two, and she's terrified, but she's brave and she's ready for action, and she knows that it's all on her to keep her son alive. And she, at this point of her life, has been spending a lot of time getting prepared for this. If you watch those two movies, you would not say, "Oh, she just had it happen. She was a normal woman yesterday, but today she's an action hero." No, no, no. The movie does a great job to show you the developmental process and the sacrifices required to get these things. She is in prison, essentially, at a mental ward. Nobody believes her story. And regardless of that, she is persistent. She knows what she knows, and she is fighting and struggling and trying to survive this. Now, we also discover too that people are aware that she has some knowledge of something, because Skynet, how could she possibly know about Skynet? And the people at Skynet are probably curious about that. And so there's certainly some truth. There are some secrets being told behind the scenes. But the point is that that this woman worked damn hard to get to where she was, so that by the time the rise of the machine comes, she is ready for action. She is no Mary Sue, and I don't think anybody could confuse her as one. And that is sort of the contrast. Now, in the substance, I think it's significant to me that the alter ego, her name is Sue, which I believe, and I'm just guessing here, is supposed to be a play on the word Mary, on the name Mary Sue, because when she is an alter ego, quite literally, it is all handed to her. She is literally just the greatest thing since sliced bread. She's able to have way more success than the original self, and and everybody loves her and is obsessed with her, and she's getting all the glory and the fame and all the wonderful accolades that she ever wanted, that she could never seemingly reach as her original self, who actually did, by the way, earn her spot in the limelight. So I think that the name Sue is important for that purpose. And what else was it that I wanted to mention about the substance? Goodness gracious, so much of that movie. I do think that, oh gosh, she's I guess that's all there really is to it. I should have come prepared. Maybe I will later make a second video on the substance, but I did kind of want to just mention that for the sake of that movie, because I really wished I had brought up that detail, because I touched on it but never actually explained it. And then after having re-listened to it or rewatched it, I was like, oh man, how could I have let that go? So important for the sake of the story and understanding the movie. All right. Well, that's all I have to say about that. So catch y'all later. Have yourselves a good rest of your day. Remember to like and subscribe.